Go, baby. I just had to bring y'all in real quick, man. Let's get the podcast getting ready to going. Mental wealth. First and foremost, before we begin today, I just want you to remember this is where we normalize therapy. This is where we discuss emotional literacy. This is where we discuss mental wellness, mental health. This is where we have culturally grounded conversations through education, through dialogue, through discourse, through rapport. This is where you can come and talk about any and everything. As long as you're in the field or as long as you are working with kids who, or parents or people, or, if you just in the mind frame of doing that, it's all good. It's all love. We do appreciate it, man. Anybody can come in and step in, but we definitely want you to, take your time when you get here, man. Shout out to you and yours for checking in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share when you get the opportunity. We about to bring Dr. McCord in real quick. So I definitely want y'all to just, settle down, relax, and let's get it going real quick. I gotta make sure I bring her in. I think I hit join. I don't know what's going. I don't know if you're there yet. Hey, hold up.
Hey,
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 let's go.
hey, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, good, good, good.
Yes,
It's the
yes.
clapping sounds for me.
Yeah. You are, it's trying to get it official over here. How you feeling? How you doing today?
I'm good. We kind of had a light teaching day, so I'm good.
That's good. It's good to see you. You looking healthy. You looking
Yes.
well. You looking wealthy. I'm glad to see you right now. We about to get into this. About to get into this
Yes.
real quick.
Let's
First,
let's get
first and
into it.
foremost, first and foremost, what about me? Right? That's the big
Uh-oh.
question. What about
Mhm.
me? And
Mhm.
that question, when I was reading the book, every time that question hit, it made me think about just the black women. It made me think
Mhm.
about myself. It made me think about just feelings of like being isolated, feelings of being lonely, feelings of like not really having no one, or feelings of trying to advocate for yourself, like what's going on with myself, right? So I really
Mhm.
want to get into that book. But before we begin, real quick, hold up. We're not gonna let this pass over us.
We
You
could have.
are you are officially Dr. Kiana McCord. Can
I
we
am.
talk? Hold on. Can we talk about that real quick?
I am. I am.
Talk about that real quick. What?
Um, I'm a doctor of education as
Hmm.
of last Monday, June
Hmm.
9th. It was a journey. It
Right.
was it was something that it was like a tunnel, and then but now that it's over, it's a wrap. But
Hmm.
it's a good feeling, and it's a good to hear like the kids say it and to hear my peers say it. Like
Hmm.
when you say it and my
Hmm.
colleagues. It's a great accomplishment. It's not a good accomplishment. It's a great accomplishment. I'm still like on like, oh shoot, like this really happened. I'm
Hmm.
still there with it. I think I'll really sit in it next school year. Once this
Hmm.
new school year come in, that's when I think I'll really be like, oh, okay.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Do you know that you are part of the 4%? I
Yes.
don't know if you did the research
I
yet, but
did. I did.
you
I
you are
did.
part of the 4% of black women who hold doctoral degrees within the education field. You understand me?
Yes.
So it's important that you acknowledge that. It's important that you know that you are. It's such an accomplishment, and you should definitely be proud of yourself because that's not a feat everyone has done.
Hmm.
Even though
Yes.
it's highlighted a lot, but it's not a feat everyone has done, and it's something that we need more of in the education field because guess what? We need more policymakers. We need more women of color that can be representatives and actually kids can look at and see, right? Men of color, women of color, we need that within these fields. And, I just want to make sure I got my notes right.
Yes.
We need more people like yourself that's showing up.
Hmm.
We need more superintendents. We need more policymakers, just leaders at universities. So with that being said, I just want to let you know, keep doing great things. Don't let
Thank
nobody
you.
stop you because you're already in a great position. You just got to keep going. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So with that, let's get into this book.
I
All
love how
right.
you just started with that so you can really get into what you really want to get into.
Listen,
I
listen,
respect it. I respect
listen,
it.
listen. We got to get into it. All right. So, what about me? Let me ask you a question. Right. What
Hmm.
inspired you to write this book? And
Oh,
when did you first know, like, yo, I got a story to tell?
okay. So the first question of what inspired me was this idea that I've always kept, that when you tell your story or when you are, telling any story, there
Hmm.
are other people involved whose story, it subconsciously is going to come out and it's going to be talked about. And I think that a lot of times in a black and brown community, and I think in all communities, right, when something happens that's tragic, or when something happens, it becomes entertainment for other people, and it becomes something that's the topic of the day, the topic of the year. And there's not a lot of time that is taken to say, what about the people it's affecting? What about the people
Hmm.
that's involved behind the scenes?
Hmm.
And that's really what this book gives. Like, what happens when the lights go out and everybody goes home and everybody has to go about their day? Like, reality is reality, and you can't really run from it. And that's why the title is "What About Me," but the other part of it is, what am I supposed to do now? Because that's a real question of, like, what about me? But then now, what am I supposed to do with the information or the cards that I've been dealt in
Hmm.
life? And honestly, for the second question, I wrote this book. This book has been in fruition for a long time, like for maybe
Hmm.
2, 3 years. And I kind of went back and forth of finishing it, because at the same time I was in school.
Right.
And so I don't know, somewhere in my head I thought, when I started my dissertation, start finishing this book. I don't know, I lost my mind. But
Hmm.
somehow I finished the dissertation and the book at the same time.
Mm.
Um, and I actually linked up with a beautiful, amazing publisher, Ebony. Love her so much.
Amazing
Um,
work. Amazing work.
Amazing.
Hmm.
And she has been my, like, let's get it
Right.
done. And overall, I know that the story is good because I've heard from people who, I think they purchased it because it's me, but
Hmm.
when they purchased it and read it, it's like, oh shit, like, wait a second. And for me, once I sat down and really read it, I was like, we need a part two. And so part two is coming. That's a little, it's coming.
I love that. I love that. So it's a part two coming.
There is a part two coming, yeah.
I I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Uh oh.
I think the book is great. I think
Thank you.
it's detailed. I love how you are very descriptive with like the Marnie. I think Marnie and just different fashions and just
Uh
like
huh.
the colors you talk about. I think
Mhm.
somebody had a yellow essential
Mhm.
the yellow essential joint put on. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I was getting through it and then I was like, you know what? I gotta I couldn't finish it as much as I wanted to because I had
Mhm.
to do, you know, it's just so much stuff. But
We
I was
working hard. I get it.
yeah,
We
yeah,
working hard.
but I love it though. I love it.
Thank
And
you.
the amount of detail that you put into it, I mean, from corner to calm to honor, you know, like it's I'm dead serious. I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, next time if I have another child, guys, I want you to name my baby. I may be honest. But like, look, I need for you
Listen,
to find something creative, something cool, you know, something
they
with a little style.
and let me just say, all of those names were extremely intentional. Like,
Hmm.
all of the names from, first of all, for me, Brooklyn represented every young woman who went through something. So
Right,
that's why her name was Brooklyn, because she
right.
represents every young woman in Brooklyn who, I'm going to be honest, because it's you, so I can have this conversation.
Let's
We
go.
all, as young women, we get told good girls like bad boys.
Hmm.
That's just, that's how it's presented.
Y'all
And
do.
so to sometimes. So for me, that's what Brooklyn represents. She's the young woman who works hard and has a career, and she got into a relationship, or was in a relationship when the book started, with
Hmm.
someone who she found out wasn't always so good and had
Right.
another side to them. And now what do you do? So that idea, what about me? I think that it's very interesting that everybody looks at it as, oh my God, what happens? But it's the whole story. The whole
Mm.
story is what about me. The whole idea of here I am, I'm a lawyer, and now I'm presented with this case and I have to defend one person. But once one person gets off, the person who I'm in a relationship with, they may possibly go to jail and for a
Mm-hmm.
long time. So now where does that leave me? And then as the story progresses and spoiler alert, kind of passes away,
Oh
and
my God, you wasn't.
I
All right, cool,
wasn't, but I
cool,
am
cool.
because part two is coming. So if you didn't know that, that means you're supposed to you're not up on where you're supposed to be.
Hmm.
Part two is coming. The proof
Hmm.
for copy of part two is here.
Yeah, yeah,
Part two is
yeah.
coming.
Yup. Okay.
So once that happens, that changes to now. What do I do now?
Hmm.
And when us as young women, when we are forced to ask that question, don't get me wrong, we sit with our friends and we ask those questions. We sit, we have those kumbayas, we even go to
Hmm.
therapy and ask those type of questions.
Let's
But
go.
internally, when you have to really ask yourself those questions, that's hard because
Yeah.
it's decision making. And I think that what for me, especially as an educator
Right.
of black and brown young girls, I always tell them, like, when it comes to decisions, you can make a right decision at the wrong time or a wrong decision at the right time.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, and then with all the details, it seems like the right thing to do, but it could lead to other things coming up.
Mm.
Or in a moment, because you're trying to be fast, you make a decision, you know, having a baby. Everybody think, oh, you have a baby young, it's the worst thing in the world.
Truth.
No,
Truth.
it could lead to you being amazing and amazing parent. My mom had me at 15 and I'm a doctor of education. So
That's right. Shout out to your
it's
mama.
a yeah, so those things is a limbo, but it's the cards that you're dealt.
Wow. You got such a, I mean, you speak with so much passion and vigor and just like, I can definitely hear the sincerity in your voice and like how you putting this story together. So I know part two is going to be even more just detailed and full of surprises. I knew not, I just knew Nas was going to be Nas. I'm just going to be honest. I,
Really?
I knew that was going to lead to that. I just knew. I'll
Really?
let you do the spoiling, but I just knew Nas was going to be Nas within the story, and
Why?
I just, I
Why?
just, I just figured because he was like really, you know what I mean, like she's vulnerable, right? She already done
Okay.
lost. She's
Uh-huh.
already done lost Connor. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean, horrifically, and
Mhm.
now she's in a space of like everything around her is pretty much in a traumatic kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just so much stuff going on,
Mhm.
and he comes along, he's cool, he's calm, he's like really giving,
Uh-huh.
checking in on her, like it was just subtle, and then it was just like, all right, I see what's going on here, I see how this was going to be played out. um
Not you
how
figured
much?
it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just kind of like was like, okay, that's cool. I like the story though. I love it. I
Thank
think
you.
it's very detail orientated. How does your background in education, right? How does that influence the themes or like the messages in your writing? Yeah.
Okay, so being completely honest, and it's funny because I teach sixth through eighth grade, as you know, and my sixth and seventh graders, they have been trying to negotiate for a copy of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, you can't read this book. I have a book coming that they will be able to read because it's going to be age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
But for my eighth graders, some of the girls they did either purchase it or I did give them a copy. And the reason why I
So.
did that is because they're going to high school, and when you get to high school, there are going to be experiences that you have. God forbid you have an experience where somebody you love passes away, or you have an experience where you or your friend, experiences any type of trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as an educator, I think I'm so much more intentional
Mm-hmm.
as I've grown, especially going through this doctorate journey, because I'm a strong believer. If I'm going to do something, it has to be number one intentional, and I need to know why I'm doing it. And being fully transparent, I went to become a doctor of education just with the idea of I want to do more. And
Oh.
as I like finished, I'm like, okay, so now what does this mean? And
Mm-hmm.
for me, writing books, first of all, is fun to me. It's fun. It sounds crazy, but it comes easy.
Yeah.
And so, like, as I'm reading through some of the work that I already have that's like locked and loaded, ready to go, I'm really intentional about, okay, I want to have books that my students can read in 6th through 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I also want books that us as colleagues, as friends, could sit and say, yo, and have those inside jokes and those inside moments, and they all looking at us like, what y'all talking about? None of
Right.
your business.
Facts.
Because that's what this is, right? So when you come into class and you like da 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 da, kind of, they looking like, what is Canty talking about?
Yeah.
Versus there is going to be a book or two where they're like, oh yeah, because in this book, Dr. McCord said this, he said that, and so for sure,
This is what I'm
um,
talking about, kids.
that
Y'all got to
pushes
go
the
read.
intention. Yeah, that pushes the intentionality to make sure I have a balance of both, and I have, a few things that I really want to work on that's for them. So
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You brought up some great points when you were talking, and our kids, they go through so much.
yeah,
They're getting exposed to a lot, and
yeah,
sometimes we try to hold their hands and coddle them. Um,
and we
but at
can't.
the same, but we can't, right? And they, at the same time, they're being exposed to so much from social media,
Mm-hmm.
just in life in general, everything that's going on around them.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to your peoples. They here representing, they in there showing love. So we want to salute you ladies in there for real. Um, it's very detailed at the same time. And I love, you got an explicit mind, Kiana. You got an
Oh Lord,
explicit mind,
I knew you was
Kiana.
gonna go there.
Where did you get this mentality from? I need to know. Like, I was reading it for a second and I'm like, hold on, I don't open what's going on with me for a second? Let me.
Canty, please. Um, Honestly, a lot of it came from, if I was in this situation, this is how the situation would go,
Uh-huh.
or conversations that I've had with people who've had certain experiences, and this is how it goes. And on top of that, for me, I needed to be as realistic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Sahara, don't laugh at him because you know what he's talking about.
Mm.
Um, I needed to be as realistic as possible. So the same way that I was very clear on like the yellow essential sweatsuit and the Marni slides and this is what they dress kind of in for the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Like I needed the details to be very clear, and
Yeah.
that's with all of my books. Like you're gonna know exactly when, where, how, why. Like yeah,
Let me, and I love that. Um, and they always say, I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm gonna get that wrong. So let me not
please
even say
don't,
that part.
don't.
I'm
Let's
gonna
not.
get that
Please,
wrong.
let's skip over that part.
All right. So,
Okay.
when you were writing this,
hmm
did anything surprise you while you were like putting everything into words? Like,
I could say the character that surprised me the most,
mm-hmm,
um, for me was Nazia
mm-hmm,
and Connor's mother, who's in a book as Mama Noel.
mm-hmm,
And the reason why that surprised me, even though as a writer that surprised me, is because I've never had a situation where I had to rely on my partner's parent
yeah,
or my partner's family.
mm-hmm,
And I had to really go to a space of, if that happened to me or if I at any capacity needed to be supported by them, what would I want that to look like?
mm-hmm,
And over time, like the characters and the words kind of made a shape of their own.
mm-hmm.
And then as far as Nazir, as predictable as you thought that it was going to be, I was intentional about him focusing on calm and not her.
Okay,
And the reason why is because of, like you said, that level of vulnerability of
yeah,
she's vulnerable, you want her, da 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 da. However, it is very clear to anyone who reads this, in order to even get to any surface of a conversation with Brooklyn, you gotta know calm is it and or nothing.
mm-hmm,
And so, that's what she shaped her life around. As
mm-hmm,
much of like her being a lawyer, her being educated, her being a top lawyer, her,
right,
grieving and those things, like she shaped her life around calm.
yeah,
And so I was very like that surprised me about how intentional I had to be about that and how intentional I had to be about what would the relationship be with them moving forward, because I don't have children. So I
Right.
had to really be like, okay, if this was me, then how would I want this to go? Or
Mm,
from what I've seen, the things that either worked or didn't work, because I've
right.
seen both sides.
Mm. I love that. And you being a writer at the same time, I mean, you could write a story going in any direction. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And like that's one of the beauties to me about being an author is you can write that story going in any direction. And it
Hmm.
really remember the back in the days it was like choose your adventure, right? Like which way you want to go. You could
Hmm.
totally write your story to pretty much like you said, to manifest in how you
Yeah.
want it to be. Um, is anything in the story? Is anything in the story personal or something, from your own experience or something that people went through? Is any of that being resonated within the story?
So definitely that idea of once a funeral is over and everybody goes home, you
Mhm.
really got to figure out, okay, now what?
Right.
And
I
then
remember
for
that.
yeah, and then for me, one of my best friends, when he passed away, and you look to the left, you see one, because he had two children, so you look to the left, you see one child's mother, you look to the right, you see another child's mother, and both of these women now who shaped their life around raising their children with him, regardless of the extra details and relationship status, they had to figure out like how does that look. And I've seen over the years, this is like past what 5 years now, what that looks like and how it shaped each of them as women. So I was able to really tap into that and tap into seeing what that looked like, and then also if that was me, what would I do, and how would I feel, and would I be strong enough to do this, or would I be strong enough to do that?
hmm Do you quick question? So now that you have these characters, do you at times be like, are you going through something? Let me act like I'm Brooklyn in this
For
sense right now.
sure, for
Uh-huh.
sure, for sure. And then also like for me with going into doing part 2, I had to be like, okay, so now what will life look like for Brooklyn now? And what like
hmm
with even with the kids and things of that nature and the changes that's coming.
I love that.
Can't give
So
too much.
yeah. I'm about to say don't give
No,
too
no, no,
much,
can't give too
right?
much,
You
but
gotta
it's gonna
like
be
let
good.
them get the book. So let them purchase the book. Let them check it
For
out themselves.
sure.
But we're gonna move forward real quick because I know we don't have enough time. But I got a couple more questions, so bear with
Okay.
me. Um, let's move forward to education and mental health.
Okay.
As both an author, as an educator, how do you see the connection between like storytelling and healing, especially like within the Black community?
I think that a lot of what we suppress is what's like the hurtful stuff, right?
Let's go.
So,
Let's
and what
go.
I mean by that is like you could tell your friends a story and you could tell them A, B, C, and D. But if you are vague on C, then when you go home or when you hang up the phone, that's the part you're dwelling on because you ain't
Mm,
really get that part out. And the reason why I rooted it in your friends is because one of the things I've learned, especially getting like this degree, is the people who you could rely on a day to day basis, that is your core. Like the people who you could say, yo, I'm not doing this.
yeah.
And they are like, yeah, okay, yes, you are. That's your core. And even therapy, like I have an amazing therapist. I like my therapist. I could call her right now. Like we gotta talk. Like that's my homegirl.
I
We
love
talk
that.
on the phone.
Hmm
And the correlation between that and writing is you have to have an outlet. You have
hmm
to, because when you keep certain things bottled up, you can think that you've moved on because you've moved on. Like time wise, you moved on.
hmm
Accomplishing things, you move on. Doing things, you move on. But internally, you don't. My
mm
dissertation was on the adverse childhood experiences lived through and the developmental outcomes for African American women. And I can say for all of them who participated, as we're talking, it's like, wait a second, there is something that I didn't heal from. There
Let's
is
go.
something that I still need to talk about.
Let's go.
And that, and also by the end of the conversation, it was like a relief because I got it out.
Yeah.
And for me, teaching kids from 6th to 8th grade or any age, because I also, tutor and I deal with high school kids, college kids, it doesn't make a difference. Even adults who I have conversations with, when you don't have an outlet, you kind of hurt people, hurt people. That's the
That's
best way I
right.
could put it.
That's right.
Hurt people. And it may not be intentional, but it happens mentally, physically, emotionally, however. So having an outlet is very important, and that's why I'm very happy that we have the foundation that we have here, with our students and with you being a
Hmm.
counselor and them
Hmm.
knowing that they could come to you, and we can even say like, "Yo, I think you should check in with so and so," because
Right.
that check-in factor, it changes the day. These kids come
Hmm.
in and they're on 10, and by the 9:30 mark, it's like it done went from A to Z. And if you didn't have no check in,
Right.
that's the day, and you
That's
don't want
right.
that. You
That's
don't want
right.
that.
I love that hurt people. And you mentioned something, and I always want to just make sure I tell black men this as well. Like you mentioned going to therapy, and like 10 to 15% of black women go to therapy. Black men, we go about 5 to 6, 7%, right?
Yes,
So we don't really look to, and I'm gonna do a podcast, a series on this probably next week or in
I
two
can't wait for
weeks.
that.
But we don't really go to therapy. We don't talk about it. We don't really trust the system, right?
Hmm.
We feel like, there's a lot of racism we deal with. It's a lot of internal things we deal with. So we rather keep it bottled up and be told, like, this is how we are strong, right? And we try to utilize that to get through. But you're mentioning, you know, it's a lot of healing when it comes to talking and talking to your
Hmm.
therapist and being able to express things. I still realize now at my big age, there's things that I be talking to myself and I be like, hold on,
Hold
you mean
on,
to
you
tell
gotta
me I'm not
check
over
that.
that? I'm not even
Yeah.
over that yet. So I'm like, I need to really do the work. So I definitely am going to touch on that topic in a couple weeks.
But you know what a big part of that is? I think for men is this superhero complex.
Yeah.
This idea that any and everybody who you communicate with, come in contact with, your children, your partner, your family,
Hmm.
that we look for y'all to be superheroes.
That's right.
And I think that that is something that I can say we add to, but
Hmm.
y'all set the tone for that.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because even in the book, bringing it back to the book, Connor didn't come home and say I did this A, B, and C because
Yeah.
it's an assumption if I have to be this way for you
Hmm.
versus let's figure it out as a team and as a family or whatever the dynamics are. And I
Yeah.
think that for our community, it is such a you have to protect and serve, you have to
Yeah.
provide, you have to, and on under all of that is humans, like,
Yeah.
and that's where the disconnect and the boundaries get lost.
Yeah, you got to remember you're a human first, man, before
Yeah.
anything. If you don't
So
remember you're a human, I've learned
yeah.
through my readings that you have to remember we're all spirits, right? And we're in this human
Hmm.
body, and our spirit is bigger than our body.
Yeah.
But our spirit is always looking for kindness. We're always looking for
Yeah.
compassion. We're always looking for empathy. We're always looking for love. But in our community, like you said, we're supposed to be superheroes in the space. But,
Hmm.
sometimes we got to let our guards down. But that's going to take some work, and that's another topic.
I can't
Um,
wait till you do that series though.
listen,
That I'm gonna
listen.
be tuned in for
I'm gonna
sure.
get there. What do you feel is missing in in schools when it comes to like supporting teachers and students for emotional wellness?
Trauma informed practices.
Mm,
Trauma informed practices. And what I mean by trauma informed practices is remove the academics, remove what type of behavior expectations are, and
mm-hmm,
really being able to have like how you do SEL with the
mm-hmm.
students,
Yep.
but not just the social emotional, but what is wrong
Right.
and what happened. Because,
Mm-hmm,
kids tell without telling.
mm-hmm.
When they respond to certain things uncomfortably or do that little laugh,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
responding to certain things. When
Right.
things happen and things come up, we don't always have the space, or everyone doesn't have the tools to really go and dig deep as we should.
Facts.
And I think that us as educators, we do ourselves a disservice when we are not fully informed on what's happening with our students.
That's a
Because the
fact.
assumption comes in of Johnny came in class and he put his head down and he don't want to do work, versus Johnny just spent the whole night listening to his parents argue, so he's
Mm-hmm.
tired and didn't get no sleep and he's hungry. And
Mm-hmm.
when that factor of empathy and being trauma informed come into a classroom, it changes the dynamics of relationships between teachers and students. It changes the trust, and
Mm-hmm.
it changes like just the whole dynamic of the system as a whole.
Mm. Yeah.
And I can honestly say, like, I know I don't always have the most conventional teaching methods,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, my kids come first, and what's wrong with my kids, and
Mm-hmm.
how to support my kids best comes first. I
That's
have
not.
one student who I kind of made a really abnormal bet with,
Mm-hmm.
abnormal negotiation with, but it's working
Yeah.
because it's what he wants and what he needs, and he's appreciative of it. And once you get a kid to appreciate you, you get a kid to listen to you and want to learn from you.
Mm. You said so much in so little time, and I definitely can continue to unpack all of that.
Listen,
Um, Hey, listen, we could be on here for an hour, but we definitely got things we got to do. And
yes.
I just love how you just spoke about the trauma informed practices.
Hmm.
Um, I just it's so much that I think that teachers and students need. That work life balance needs to be a little more appreciated. It
Hmm.
definitely needs to be something that is created more awareness around. Teachers need
Yes.
some higher pay. Counselors, therapists, social workers, we need some higher pay.
Yes.
You know, let's advocate for that,
Yes,
and
please.
let's get more black women into the therapy world. Let's get more black men into the therapy world, counseling world. Let's get more just women like you,
Children,
more children into the counseling world, and families, black families
families,
within the
yes.
counseling world, black and brown, right? Black,
Yes.
brown, every family
Everybody.
of color. Outside of that, everybody needs to go. But we just particularly just want to make sure we know that it's okay for the black community to step in as well and do their thing. I got two more questions because I know we
Okay.
run out of time here.
Listen, I'm
Um,
gonna definitely come back because part two is coming. So
no, no,
I'll
no.
definitely come back.
We gonna listen. We're gonna make sure we make it happen. All right, because it's only gonna get bigger and better over here on this podcast. So I
Appreciate
just
it. Appreciate it.
think. So have you ever personally just experienced burnout or mental fatigue within like writing your books or the educational journey, and like how did you manage that?
Um, Interestingly enough, and I don't recommend this to people. When I felt the most burnt out, I decided to finish a book.
Mm.
When I was
Push
like,
through, everybody. Push through.
and it's so funny because the people in my house will tell you, my friends will tell you, like, Kiana, they want me to just close this laptop so bad.
Hmm.
But like when I was like, okay, I think I need to just stop with the dissertation for a little while, but I didn't close the laptop. I decided, okay, I'm gonna finish this book,
Hmm.
which was crazy, but it provided a like woosah of something else that's a little more entertaining and not so
Hmm.
like database and da 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 da. But that burnout is real, and
Yeah.
also like that running on coffee is not a joke, and
Yeah.
you feel it and you physically feel it because I haven't really had coffee since I graduated. So
Wow.
it's just like that running on coffee is a real thing. But I will say, listen to your body. That's
Hmm.
first of all. Like it's like I'm joking around about it, but that burnout is real, and it
Listen
shows
to.
up in different ways, and it shows up in ways that's unintentional. I've had
Hmm.
to apologize to my students a few times because
Hmm.
that crankiness comes out, that like I need a break and I can't get a break and I can't just run out this classroom and leave y'all in here,
Hmm.
comes out, and I can't just tease you, can't just like it don't it's life. But
Yeah.
I also think that most importantly, like you said, um don't give up, but also finish what you start. I think
Yeah.
that's at the core of, if I could say anything else about before you get to the burnout, have
Hmm.
a plan, stick to the plan, be okay if the plan changes, be okay with the time, like have a plan without a timeline.
Hmm.
Have an end goal but not a timeline, because I think that's what like was the frustrating part of even writing, of like, oh, I need to have these chapters done by this day and da-da-da. And it's like, wait a second, Kiana, you are still teaching, you are still finishing, like,
Hmm.
relax. And it was a lot of conversations with my publisher Ebony, like, Kiana, please relax. But
Yeah.
yeah, have a schedule for yourself, have an end goal, but be give yourself grace. I think that's the
Hmm.
best thing.
You
Grace
said
in every
great.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, grace, man. I always tell people when they step into work, I'm like, always give yourself some grace. You know,
Yeah.
you're trying. You don't know you're trying every day, and you're trying to get it together, keep it together. You're trying to be the best
Yep.
person. Give yourself room to like fall. Give yourself room to mess up. Give yourself that space, and then give yourself time to come back. Right? Find a
Yep.
moment to like hold up, I was tripping a little bit. Let me get my mind right.
It's fine.
You had so much gems in here today. Let me ask you before we go. What do you hope readers walk away with after reading your book? And is there just like one key thing you want to stick with them?
I think the first one is that like the cards that you are dealt in life, they are really like your cards. Like
Hmm.
you gotta figure it out. And
Facts.
that looks different for everybody, but you gotta figure it out. And I think for me, especially knowing that I have a part two coming and seeing how that unfolds without giving away too much, those things that you think is like in the back of your mind because you've accomplished so much, you've done so much, they have a way of coming back. They have a way of like, hold on, I didn't deal with this, or I didn't deal with this enough. So really
Hmm.
like give yourself grace, but also deal with what you want, what you need to deal with, whether that be through conversations with your friends, family, journaling, going to therapy, because you only get one set of cards in life. You get one life. You got to figure it out one way or another.
I love that. I love that. That's such a powerful message. And it's like saying, everything that you are looking for to be successful, it's already
Hmm.
within you. It's already in front
Yeah.
of you. It's already laid out. You just got to believe that. And a lot of people don't have that hope. Um, Last question.
Hmm.
I know we don't get a chance to look over at Himalayan sunrise. I know we don't have any herbal tea right now, and we're not in like a yoga space. But what would you say is a what would you say is a self care tip that you utilize that you go to almost every day in the hustle and bustle of just being in Brooklyn? What would you go to?
um, I would say rest.
Hmm.
Now I would say rest. It used to be read or write, but now I think it's rest, and especially rest and go outside. Like
Hmm.
go get some fresh air. Like you don't have to go out for 5 6 hours. Like yesterday I really like was intentional. I set a timer. Like, okay, I'm gonna go out from 1 to 4, came home. Like you need that fresh air and give
Hmm.
yourself grace in doing it. Like even if you have a to-do list, somewhere in your to-do list, put go outside.
Mm.
You have a pet, walk your pet. Like you got to.
I love that. I love that. Hey, listen, Dr. McCord, it was a pleasure. Tell me
Yes.
something. Where can we find your book? And how
Um.
can we like, how can we get in contact with you?
Well, my book is on
Hmm.
Amazon.com. I have copies of on me as well. So if you want to personally purchase it from me, so you could get the bookmark, you can. Um, the second one will be on Amazon as well. So that's like the main source would be Amazon.
Hmm.
And you can find me at Dr. McCord on Amazon. I said on Amazon. On Instagram. And I also have Books by Kiana M. That's the other Instagram page.
Hmm.
That's just strictly for the books. I'm gonna be a little more intentional now that school's over with like really putting things out. I didn't do a release date for part two, but I did like release the cover. This is how it looks,
Hmm.
and it's coming soon.
Hmm. We
And then
love
there's
that.
a surprise in a few weeks, but
Listen. We love that. It's a surprise in a few weeks. Hey, if you're looking for her, you can also, hit me up. We can definitely get you in contact.
yeah, definitely.
Salute to everyone that contributed to like the book covering and just just everything. So it's all beautiful. We wish you the best on your journey.
Thank you
Peace
so
and
much.
love, and thank
Yes,
you for checking in. To everybody, don't forget to follow the Mental Wealth Academy 8. There's many out there, many mental wealth podcasts, but this is number one, baby. No disrespect. They all doing
Yes,
great work. We wish you all the best, but y'all gotta get my likes and subscribes up as well. Come on, let's put the work in
definitely.
so you can see more of this. All right, peace and love.
Definitely. Make sure you save it so I can put it on my page. And I need my hat, Kenzie.
I got you. I got you.
My
I'm a
hat.
when I get off here, I'm gonna hit you up as a collaborator. So
Yes.
you just accept that, and then I'm gonna
Perfect.
break this down. I got you. All right.
Okay.
All right, yo. Thank you.
All right.
Bye
No
bye, y'all.
problem.